Dear Cole, what's your feeling about the fair after 2 days?
It's been chaotic in a good way. We've seen a lot of references dropped, a lot of excitement in the industry, and plenty of people are really into the new watches this year. Of course, now we have our friends from the East in China and Japan are back at the show. That's creating a lot of buzz. And so far it's been a very enjoyable show, I will say. Well, let's start off with the kind of a headliner. I won't say the headliner, but it is a headliner, our Black Bay. So this Black Bay specifically is the first ever example with a METIS certified movement inside. This will pave the way forward for TUDOR to eventually, in due time, offer METIS certification on all of our watches. First, 5-link bracelet. First time it's ever appeared on a Black Bay. Secondly, our bezel and crown have been redesigned, so the teeth are sharper to make for a better grip. Additionally, the crown has been reshaped, so there's a little curvature in the crown that wasn't there previously. And the last thing that I should mention here, so you take a look at the dial, the hands have been reshaped. So we see at the base of this hand, it's pinched a little bit, and the hour hand has been elongated and the proportions have been adjusted. And last but not least, one final detail, lollipop seconds hand. The ethos of the watch is looking forward while also using some touches from the past. We originally started the Black Bay line with the burgundy bezel. Some case dimensionality has changed. We've made the watch slightly thinner, and I think you can actually see that. So just to make it more ergonomic, wear better, and just an overall better watch, of course. Then I would say the next watch is this Black Bay 54. We'll start at the very beginning, rewind to 1954. TUDOR comes out with a Submariner, the reference 7922, 200 meter water resistance, 37 millimeter case, and looks a lot like this watch. It is a watch for all wrists, so it's not geared specifically towards men or women or only vintage enthusiasts. It really is, it's kind of a magical size, 37 millimeter. It looks good on almost every wrist that we've seen it on. There are a few elements that lend the vintage aesthetic to the watch. The most noticeable one right away is the lack of hash marks on the bezel. 0 to 15 usually have hash marks ticked off. So we wanted to stay really true to the original in terms of creating a spiritual successor to the 7922. 11.24 millimeter case, 46 millimeter lug to lug, crown redesigned, and the grooving on this bezel, the crenulations, are actually different. This has more almost like the top of a castle, if we imagine these squared off. So again, true to the original. Well, we still have a few more watches to go. So we'll get right into the Black Bay. A few new things about this. First time ever that we've used a TUDOR manufacture caliber movement inside. We've reshaped the case to give it added curvature. So if you could see the case profile here, it kind of has a little bit of bulbousness and curvature to it. We've added 3 new dial colors. This is light champagne that we're looking at. We also have anthracite and blue. Simple in its execution, sort of flies under the radar, but has developed a very loyal following, and a lot of people are very excited about the release of this watch. There's also an ergonomic benefit that we didn't go over, which is the T-fit clasp. So you kind of have all of the ergonomic advantage and so forth of a tool watch, while also capturing the spirit of an everyday watch that's very simple in its execution. There is a specific watch that manages to capture my imagination in a very special way. That is the Black Bay GMT. This new dial is not in white, so I should begin by saying that. This is an Opaline dial. And what is the difference between white and Opaline? Well, a few things. There's a grainy texture to this dial. In addition, there's a silver hue. So yes, in direct light, it does appear white. But actually, take a closer look, and there's elements of texture and subtle hues to the dial that add a little bit of character. Additionally, the indices and the hands, brass surrounds, have been rhodium coated to slightly darken them. So they're different than our other GMT. So the reason we do this is to create more contrast between the indice and the dial. And why do I absolutely go crazy over this watch? Well, it points to an era of aviation, the late 1950s. And back then, there was a famous American airline that's associated with this colorway, and I think this captures the essence of that really well.
What about the price of all the novelties?
Glad you asked. Well, there's something I should start by saying. All these watches have been produced at our new manufacturer in Lalac, using state-of-the-art technology. And we've invested heavily in this in order to keep prices down and fair for everyone, of course, and produce the best watch at the best price. So let's take this one as an example, the Black Bay 54. This is 3,650 francs. So it represents an excellent value. And then moving on to the original Black Bay with a Metis movement, 4,250 francs. And that's as it sits on this configuration, 5-link bracelet, Metis movement inside, anti-magnetic to 15,000 Gauss, 70 hours power reserve, all of the specs that you've come to know and associate with TUDOR, available in this watch. The sleeper hit, so to speak, that we talked about is 3,750 francs. The GMT in this configuration is 4,100 francs. And lastly, we have the TUDOR Royal. In this configuration, the base price of this is 2,300 francs. And because of the presence of diamond inlays on the dial, that adds a 700 franc supplemental charge, bringing the price to 3,000 Swiss francs.
Pretty soon available at Beyer as well. Thank you, Cole. It was really nice time with you and see all these beautiful novelties.
The pleasure is mine.